Hej, siemano wam wszystkim ludzie, z tej strony Arturo, witam was na swoim kanale i kontynuujemy Agatha Christie, zło, które żyje pod słońcem. Moi drodzy, powracamy po 3-dniowej przerwie, niestety weekend miałem pracujący, potem byłem w parku na Dniach Jezior, na koncercie Mezzo i Libera, świetnie się bawiłem i po prostu nie wyrobiłem się, żeby nagrać ten odcinek na poniedziałek, dlatego pojawia się we wtorek. Ale moi drodzy, kontynuujemy i prawdopodobnie w tym odcinku zakończymy ten tytuł. Potem ogramy sobie Agatha Christie i nie było już nikogo, ale ten let's play zaczniemy w kolejnym odcinku, prawdopodobnie. Moi drodzy, jeszcze taka informacja, od przyszłego tygodnia zaczynam urlop, będę miał 2 tygodnie wolnego, zapewne będę miał też jakieś wyjazdy, żeby gdzieś odpocząć, nad jeziorko i tak dalej, więc jeżeli odcinków mi się nie uda ponagrywać na zapas, to będą pojawiały się nieregularnie przez te 2 tygodnie, albo przynajmniej przez pierwszy tydzień. Mam nadzieję, że to was nie zniechęci, żeby uciec z mojego kanału i będziecie cierpliwie wyczekiwać kolejnych odcinków. A tymczasem kontynuujmy. Jak wyglądają nasze zadania? Kurde, już nie pamiętam. Znajdź zamek, do której będzie pasował klucz z pokoju Lindy. No tak, zdobyliśmy klucz. Tylko który to teraz jest? Ten prawdopodobnie. Z takim dziwnym kółeczkiem na końcu. Kompletnie nie mam zielonego pojęcia, do czego ten klucz może pasować. Czy do jakiejś skrzynki, szkatułki, może otwiera jakieś tajne drzwi? Nie mam zielonego pojęcia, dlatego plan jest taki. Musimy się rozejrzeć po wyspie. Tutaj niczego nie widzieliśmy, nie? Dobra, zejdźmy zatem w dół. Może w tym pubie coś znajdziemy. Bo w sumie tak naprawdę, tutaj mamy tablicę do rzutek. Nie widzę tutaj żadnego miejsca, żebyśmy mogli wsadzić klucz, ale kiedy zejdziemy w dół, no to mamy ten tunel. Tunel, który tak naprawdę prowadzi do rozwidlenia. Mamy dwie opcje. Albo udać się na lewo, albo udać się na prawo. Kiedy pójdziemy na prawo, to wyjdziemy w klasztorze. Ale czy my tutaj widzimy coś, gdzie byśmy mogli użyć ten klucz? Nie wydaje mi się.
A Roman column dating to the 1st century.
Tu coś mamy jeszcze. O kurde.
I say, that looks like one of those doors you find in old monasteries. What do you call them?
A monk's door, Hastings.
Ja pierdzielę, mieliśmy tutaj jakieś ukryte drzwi. Serio, pod tym mechem ich nie widziałem. Ile czasu trwało, zanim ja to odkryłem.
Tightly locked. And the door may be ancient.
My mamy klucz. Być może ten klucz właśnie jest do tych drzwi.
Hello. What have we here? Mrs. Castle's wire recorder. I'd almost forgotten about that.
Co my tutaj mamy? Fonograf.
Linda? Linda? Linda, dear, I'm having dinner in my room. Would you like to join me? Linda? Linda? Good Lord, Linda! No! Help! Someone help us! It's my daughter! Please!
The doctor was called immediately. Mademoiselle Marshall's stomach was pumped. It was a near thing, but she was saved.
Thank God. The trial was purchased for her, of course, not her stepmother.
Yes, she is caught between two worlds, Hastings. Not the real world and the supernatural, but childhood and adult. We have seen how she played up to Wilshanks. Was it just for a shovel to build her polo matin? I do not think so. I would advise speaking with her as soon as we return to Seadrift Island. You must learn if anyone attempted to goad her into it, whether all of the items we discovered in her fireplace were put there by her, and above all, You must try to put the poor child at ease.
She didn't kill her stepmother, and then try to commit suicide in remorse?
No, Hastings, she did not. Consult the pushpins on the map. The picture they tell is based on the times we have gathered during our interrogations.
Someone lied?
Hastings, you may expect a murderer to lie.
Oh, right you are.
Of more importance is that someone thinks they have told us the truth.
Time to unmask the murderer?
No, my friend. The smugglers of the heroin must first be apprehended. They are the last obstacle that stands between you and the true secret behind the murder of Arleny Marshall. For them, a small trap must be laid. And so, what do we know of the smugglers? Tell me who you think is involved.
Pani Castell, narkotyki przewożone z łodzią podwodną. Nord, żaden z niego ornitolog. Will Jenks, Horacy Blood. Horacy Blood może być podejrzany, biorąc pod uwagę fakt, że ma broń. A bronie przeważnie mają jacyś przestępcy. Chociaż z drugiej strony, może dla własnego bezpieczeństwa, Will Jenks. Nie. Jego bym raczej tutaj nie wybierał. Wydaje się, że jemu można zaufać. Pani Castell. Ona się dziwnie zachowywała, ale być może faktycznie za bardzo przeżyła tą sprawę morderstwa. Wydaje mi się, że Nord żaden z niego ornitolog.
North. He's no birdwatcher.
Excellent, my friend. Yes, Mr. North from London with his criminal background seems an obvious choice.
Pani Castell, narkotyki przewożone łodzią podwodną. Will Jenks, Horacy Blood.
Mrs. Castle. The drugs are being smuggled in via submarine.
While it is true that fifth columnists may resort to such tactics, in this case, I think not. A submarine to carry the sandwich tin? It is too much, I think, for so little.
Will Jenks.
Will Jenks.
He has access to the boat, as he tells us himself. However, would he aid us in obtaining the winch handle that opens the secret tunnel from Cutter's Cave?
Horace Blatt.
Indeed. Monsieur Blatt with the hardware store that is not doing as well as he would have us believe? He earns his income elsewhere. What are the clues to their plan?
Kolor żagli Blata. Nord obserwuje ptaki tam, gdzie ich nie ma. Nord kręci wokół kryjówki przemytnika. Heroina ukryta w jaskini Cuttera. Nowy sposób otwierania tunelu nad zatoką. Okej, dobra. Kolor żagli Blata.
The color of Blatt's sails.
Red and white. Oui, bien. What do they signify?
Czerwony kolor nakazuje Nortowi czekać, biały kolor nakazuje Nortowi czekać, czerwony kolor informuje Norta, że heroina jest do odbioru, biały kolor informuje Norta, że heroina jest gotowa do odbioru. O kurde. Czerwony kolor nakazuje Nortowi czekać. Poczekajcie, bo tam my widzieliśmy na pewno biały żagiel, na pewno czerwony żagiel. Więc obstawiam, że albo to, albo to. Biały kolor informuje Norta, że heroina jest gotowa do odbioru, czerwony kolor informuje Norta, że heroina jest do odbioru.
White tells North the heroin is ready to be picked up.
Exact. That is when North makes his move to collect it. The murder. It throws the plans of Monsieur Blatt and Monsieur North into disarray. They dare not retrieve the sandwich box from the scene of the murder, with so many police tramping about. So, we know three things which will help us capture them. The first, they assume the heroin is still where Monsieur Blatt hid it in the cave, for no outcry has been raised. Second, once it is in their possession, the safest route off the island will be back through the tunnel they have used so many times before. And third, we have the means to stop them in their tracks. What do we possess that Monsieur Blatt must need most desperately to navigate the tunnels beneath the island?
Czyli tak, na pewno będziemy musieli przygotować zasadzkę, na pewno będziemy musieli odłożyć pudełko z narkotykami na swoje miejsce. Lampa sygnalizacyjna, kompas, my mamy działający kompas, a tamten gościu ma popsuty.
The compass.
You have it, my friend. The compass is necessary to navigate the maze of tunnels. We have found the broken compass of Monsieur North. Only the compass of Monsieur Blatt remains. And how can we render it useless?
Łopanie, wystarczy go rozbić. Rozregulujemy go tym namagnesowanym opiłkiem, który znaleźliśmy w garażu. O, to.
Throw it off with the sliver of magnet we found in the garage.
Yes, of course. We return the useless compass to Monsieur Blatt, replace the sandwich tin, and the trap, it is set. Now all that remains before we return to Seadrift Island is the last clue concerning the magical finger of suspicion.
Before you give me the last clue, may I see how I am doing so far?
But of course, present the clues you have so far and your interpretation of them. If you choose correctly less than half of the time, I will give you an additional hint, along with the final clue. Power was the first clue.
Moc, oczywiście nie masz na myśli mocy magicznej. Rzecz jest zasilana elektrycznie. Oczywiście, że elektrycznie. No przecież wiadomo, że nie ma magii, voodoo i tak dalej, i tak dalej.
The thing is powered by electricity.
A good beginning. The second clue was lamp.
Oskarżający palec jest zasilany tym samym obwodem co lampa. Lampa musi być włączona, byśmy mogli zobaczyć oskarżający palec.
The lamp must be on, so that we can see the finger of suspicion.
And these are the easy questions. The third clue, it is desk.
Oskarżający palec jest na biurku, podobnie jak lampa. Kable prowadzące do lampy od oskarżającego palca są w biurku.
The wires from the lamp to the finger of suspicion are in the desk.
And the wires? They are very cleverly concealed too. The fourth clue, it is drawer.
Zamykasz szufladę za każdym razem, gdy korzystasz z oskarżającego palca. Otwierasz szufladę za każdym razem, gdy korzystasz z oskarżającego palca. Wydaje mi się, że zamyka.
You close the drawer every time you operate the finger of suspicion.
Your observation does you credit. The power it runs through the desk. The drawer, it is a logical choice for the switch to turn the machine on and off. So, the finger of suspicion is powered by the lamp through the wires hidden within the desk. Closing the desk drawer closes the circuit to allow the current to flow. Clue 5 is an easy one. Magnet.
Palec jest kontrolowany przez magnes, który nosisz przy sobie. Palec jest kontrolowany przy pomocy magnesu, który mi dałeś. Który nosi przy sobie.
The finger is controlled by a magnet you hold.
The magnet? It is here in my ring. There is a magnetic switch embedded beneath each of the oracle-like pronouncements. If the circuit is complete, a single movement controls the finger and the switch is thrown. The finger then comes to rest there. If the power to the switches is missing, the finger moves every which way as I move my hand, never settling in one spot. In this way, I did not need to leave my hand hovering suspiciously above the correct answer to your question. The switch is reset every time the circuit is broken, and the device is ready for the next. And the sixth clue, the telephone.
Nie jest podłączony. Telefon uruchamia urządzenie.
The telephone turns the device on.
It is as you say. You have proven your little grey cells are worthy of a final clue without hints. After the denouement on Seadrift Island, we will wrap up this last little mystery. The clue is code.
Some code I enter into the telephone.
Of course. Without it, the finger of suspicion will not point to the truth. Only he who dials the code on the telephone can make the finger operate correctly. And now, Hastings, when you are ready, we will return to Seadrift Island to speak with Mademoiselle Marshall. Prepare our trap for Monsieur Blatt and North, and enlist Colonel Weston's aid in their capture. It is late afternoon.
W porządku, udajmy się z powrotem na wyspę. I po raz kolejny dzień zaczynamy w pokoju hotelowym. Dobra, jak wyglądają nasze zadania? Upewnij się, czy kompas jest bezużyteczny i wróć do Blatta. Zostaw pułapkę na Blatta i Norta. Mamy też zagubiony fonograf. Czy my mamy gdzieś tutaj ten magnes? Chyba nie mam nic. Pokój Stevena Lane'a. Pokój Horacego Blatta.
Quite interesting.
Nie ma pistoletu. Ciekawe, czy nosi go ze sobą.
Ah, beautiful. They are black.
Po tej stronie niczego nie ma. Upewnij się, czy kompas jest bezużyteczny i wróć do Blata. No właśnie, gdzie jest Blat? Zostaw pułapkę na Blata i Norta.
Mademoiselle, it is good to see you looking so much recovered.
Thank you.
Captain Marshall, it is necessary that I speak with your daughter in private.
I can't allow that. She's still too weak.
It is of the utmost importance.
No.
Monsieur Poirot, I know what you want to speak to me about. I should like my father to remain.
Are you certain?
Yes, Daddy. Let Monsieur Poirot ask his questions. I need to answer, and you need to hear the answers.
Very well, Linda dear. Monsieur Poirot?
Mademoiselle, to nieprawda, że zabiła pani swoją macochę.
Mademoiselle, it is not true that you liked your stepmother.
No, I loathed her. She ignored me. That was all right. It was the way she treated Daddy I couldn't stand.
Czy pani ojciec i macocha kłócili się?
Did your father and your stepmother argue?
Daddy doesn't argue. He makes his point and then is done with it. But they often had differences of opinion.
W szkole była pani przekonana, że nauczyciel zabił pannę Parsons.
At school, you believed an instructor killed Millie Parsons.
What?
You and your friends had been experimenting with voodoo?
The devil, you say? See here, Poirot. How dare you?
Mademoiselle?
Yes, Mr. Fell, he believed in it. He got us interested. We knew Miss Porter wouldn't believe me if I told her about Millie, about him grabbing her and the horrid things he said.
Postanowiła pani sama wymierzyć sprawiedliwość.
You decided to dispense justice on your own?
Yes, we fashioned a wax figure of him, got the nail clippings and the hair like the book said, then did the ritual at the polo matting we'd made.
A pole in the cleared circle?
Yes, it represents the center of the world, power. Then we let him have it with the pins. It worked, Monsieur Poirot. You have to believe me, it worked.
Because he believed as well, mademoiselle, only that.
Pani Porter dowiedziała się o voodoo.
Miss Potter found out what about the voodoo?
She said we were persecuting Mr. Fell. But I think she got suspicious herself, because she fired him at the end of term.
To pani pisała listy z pogróżkami do macochy?
You wrote threatening letters to your stepmother?
I wanted to scare her.
So she would be more susceptible to your magic?
Yes. It sounds so stupid to say it like this.
No, mademoiselle. Children are often powerless to help those they love. But you had felt your power at school. Is it not so?
Yes, you're right, I did. I thought I could do something to stop her. And I stole Rosamond's typewriter and hid it in Mrs. Redfern's room, so she would be blamed for the notes. That was wicked, I know.
Ulepiła pani kolejną lalkę.
You created another doll.
This morning early, I went out to the monastery ruins and performed the ritual again. Je vous ai battu, je vous casse, je vous maudis. Then I came back here and burnt everything. A little later, I heard she was dead. Don't you see? I thought it had worked. Just like with Mr. Fell. But I didn't want her dead, not really. I just wanted her out of our lives, forever.
Linda dear. Oh, my child. I'm so sorry.
Mademoiselle, czy ktoś podsunął pani pomysł odebrania sobie życia?
Mademoiselle, did anyone tell you to take your own life?
No, it seemed the only thing I could do.
Przeczytała pani teraz listę rzeczy, które znalazłem.
I will list for you the things I have found.
All right.
The book of voodoo rituals, the key to the monk's door behind which you hid the wire recorder, the stick pin in the hat with some wax still adhering to it, the hairbrush, the melted wax in the fireplace, human hair burned in the fireplace, green fabric burned in the fireplace. That is all, I think.
But hang on, that's not right.
Something? It is missing?
No, that green fabric. I have no idea where that came from. I didn't burn that.
Do you see it, Hastings? Even as she puts that typewriter in the room of Christine Redfern to throw suspicion on her, someone has the same idea. As I said, the pieces of green fabric that do not match the hat of Mrs. Marshall are a significant clue. Mademoiselle, why did you try to take your own life?
After I talked to you, I came back to my room. I saw someone had been sifting through my fireplace. Then later, my puzzle box had been opened.
But Linda, you can't have believed, not really, that voodoo killed Arlena?
No, but I knew what would happen. Daddy, I know in spite of everything you loved her. And when the truth came out, and you found out what I had done, I knew you wouldn't love me anymore.
Oh, my dear girl, I'll always love you. If you believe nothing else, believe that.
Oh, Daddy, Daddy, I'm so sorry.
Hastings, we are done here.
Teraz nic tu po nas, a tak naprawdę to my się przyczyniliśmy do tego, że Linda chciała sobie odebrać życie, bo buszowaliśmy w jej pokoju. Odkryła, że znamy prawdę i po prostu się bała. Zastaw pułapkę na Blata i Norta. Upewnij się, czy kompas jest bezużyteczny. Nie mam zielonego pojęcia, w jaki sposób rozregulować ten kompas. Chyba że coś z tego będę mógł wyjąć? Albo jeden użyć na drugim?
An interesting idea that, but...
Zegarek Lindy. Dobra, na razie nie będę się nad tym zastanawiał. Chodźmy z powrotem do Zatoki Kattera. Musimy tam zastawić pułapkę. A którędy najlepiej będzie? Skrótem. Po prostu. Zejdziemy sobie do podziemi, przejdziemy tunelem, wyjdziemy w zatoczce. Wydaje mi się, że teraz muszę tam odstawić na swoje miejsce. Chociaż z drugiej strony może tu też gdzieś powinienem zostawić kompas. Ale wydaje mi się, że muszę tutaj odstawić pudełko z narkotykami.
Cheese is in the trap.
Excellent. One more step only. Colonel Weston must be here to make the arrest.
Czyli tak czy inaczej muszę udać się z powrotem na tamtą drugą zatoczkę. Użyjmy zatem do tego ciągnika morskiego.
Hello?
Tak, w istocie.
Yes, please?
On me way.
Przy okazji możemy sobie z tym kolesiem pogadać. Może tu znajdziemy coś, co pomoże mi rozmagnesować kompas.
You seem in a very good mood, young man.
I'm about to make 10 quid and won't Gladys be pleased.
What is the source of your good fortune?
It's the funniest thing. One of the guests at the hotel is paying me to help play a joke on somebody. I'm to lay off the island this evening in my motorboat, and when he signals from the hotel tower, I'm to pick him up and run him over to Thurlstone. It's a surprise for someone, but I don't know any more than that.
We must learn more, Hastings.
A któż to taki hojny?
Who is paying you?
Oh, I can't tell you that, sir. I gave my word, and he wouldn't pay up if I said.
A kiedy ma mieć miejsce na ten figiel?
When is this joke to take place?
I've no idea. I'm just to wait off the south side of the island until I see a signal from the tower. Then I head into Cutter's Cove and pick him up.
The lantern missing from the safe. It is now explained.
Daleko jest do Thurlstone?
Is it far to Thurlstone?
Oh no, sir. Just a short run across the bay. Easiest money I've ever made.
And what is the signal?
Oh, sir, I'm not sure I can tell you that.
Where can be the harm? You do not reveal the name as you promised after all. There is another 5 in it for you. £5, Hastings. I think you would not be so free with the money if it were yours.
All in a good cause.
5 quid more? This is my lucky day indeed.
Here you are, my friend. £5 as promised.
Much appreciated, I'm sure. It's just a signal with the light. 3 short flashes.
Quickly, Hastings, consult the codes in your notebook. Choose one that will be the joke on our adversary.
Dobra, 3 krótkie kody. 3 długie, 1 krótki. 3 krótkie, wydaje mi się, że to. 3 razy krótkie, natychmiastowa ewakuacja. Ostrzał pozycji.
3 short.
The signal young Mr. Jenks will already use?
No dobra. Wydaje mi się, że mogą to być 3 długie.
3 long.
Oui, but of course.
Fire on this position? Poirot, this is a rather bloodthirsty joke, wouldn't you say?
When the time comes, you can warn him if you like. Monsieur Jenks, your humorous friend cannot flash the 3 short lights out into the sea.
Why not?
That is the home guard code for announcing you have spotted the enemy.
Is it really? That wouldn't do at all.
No, indeed. 3 long flashes is the code for no enemy ship sighted.
3 long flashes. Got it. No harm done. I have plenty of time to warn him. I'm certainly glad I told you. I may even get another tip for warning the guest. If you'd excuse me, Mr. Poirot, I have to close up.
Thank you, monsieur.
Mówiłem, że temu gościowi można zaufać. Dobra, ale się tutaj rozejrzyjmy. Może coś tu jeszcze znajdziemy. Wiecie, skoro to jest warsztat, to może jakiś... Kurczę, no nie wiem. Ale tak lecę po każdej z tych rzeczy po kolei i nic tutaj nie jest klikalne.
The cars.
Dash it all, Poirot!
Nonsense.
Bzdura. Dobra, wyjdźmy na zewnątrz. Musimy też udać się na posterunek policji. Czy chcę zaglądać do sklepu? Może niekoniecznie. A do pubu? Bardzo chętnie. A, nikogo tutaj nie ma. Tu też nikogo nie ma.
The door, it is locked tight.
Drzwi są zamknięte. Upewnij się, czy kompas jest bezużyteczny i wróć do blata. No właśnie, co możemy zrobić z tym kompasem, żeby on był bezużyteczny? Teoretycznie zróbmy sobie może najpierw jakiś porządek w ekwipunku. Może ja powinienem się przyjrzeć niektórym elementom. Nożyczki? Mogę obejrzeć magazyn.
Can't say I see much point in hanging on to a magnetic sliver of metal, but you never know.
As you say, Hastings, you never know.
No i proszę bardzo. Mamy coś. Namagnetyzowany element.
I am sorry.
Well, that's put paid to the compass right enough. It's no good now.
Czyli udało nam się popsuć kompas, tak? Włożenie namagnetyzowanego elementu zmieniło wskazanie kompasu. Czyli byśmy musieli teraz się udać do blata. Ale też bym chciał porozmawiać sobie tutaj z pułkownikiem. Niestety drzwi do posterunku policji są zamknięte.
What's...
A gdzie ja w takim razie znajdę pana Blata? No tutaj byliśmy, nie? Może faktycznie w sklepie będzie. No, warto to sprawdzić. No nie. Tutaj go nie ma. W sumie to nikogo nie ma na tej wyspie.
Like a ride to the island?
Tak, z miłą chęcią.
Yes, please.
Let's be off then.
No będziemy musieli go poszukać. Zdecydowanie musimy rozejrzeć się prawdopodobnie po hotelu. No bo gdzie by mógł przebywać? Tylko na terenie tego obiektu.
Here is your compass, Monsieur Blatt. I thank you for allowing me to borrow it.
It's about bloody time, too.
Świetnie, mamy zadanko wykonane.
I'm afraid
Czyli tak, pułapkę mamy przygotowaną, oddaliśmy kompas. Wydaje mi się, że teraz to będzie dobry moment, żeby udać się na posterunek policji, o ile w ogóle będą drzwi otwarte. I żebyśmy porozmawiali z pułkownikiem czy tam porucznikiem.
Hello?
Yes, please.
On me way.
No, teraz mogliśmy wejść do środka.
Hello, Poirot.
Have there been any new developments?
I'll say.
Co z panią Castle?
What of Mrs. Castle?
She met with certain individuals in Exmoor, then hopped a train to Southampton. Trying to leave the country is my guess. She'll be detained the moment she tries to board a ship.
You are watching her associates, I assume?
Scotland Yard is on it.
Coś wiadomo w sprawie Gideona Fella?
Any report on Gideon Fell?
He's being questioned as we speak. I hope to have some information before the night is over.
A co z Monsieur Nashem?
What of Monsieur Jimmy Nash?
Nothing yet, Poirot. Scotland Yard has promised to bring through sometime tonight.
It is time to clear up our remaining mysteries. I need your help.
Anything.
Pańscy ludzie muszą obserwować groble i zatrzymać każdego, kto będzie chciał przejść.
Your men must watch the causeway and stop anyone who tries to leave.
My men will be ready. Anything else?
Oczywiście, musimy załatwić tę sprawę z heroiną.
We must settle this business of the heroin.
Tell me what you need.
Accompany me to Cutter's Cave.
I'm ready to leave when you are. What else?
We are ready to return to Cutter's Cave. Colonel, perhaps you should descend to Cutter's Cove by the ladder. I will ask Mademoiselle Brewster to conduct me there.
Why don't we both take the ladder?
Tell him the smugglers might try to escape by boat.
If the smugglers try to flee by boat, I shall be ready. If they try to make their escape via the ladder, you will be there to apprehend them.
On my way.
Thank you, Hastings. You appreciate my suspicions of the ladder. Do they see? It does not appear too rough?
Poirot, you can't fly to Cutter's Cove.
Fly? No, no. Flying is not for Poirot.
Pozostały jeszcze tunele, ale biorąc pod uwagę fakt, że pan Blatt ma popsuty kompas, więc obstawiam, że tam się zgubią. Czy nie przewiozłaby mnie pani łodzią do Zatoki Cuttera?
Can you row me?
Mr. Poirot.
Dobra, sprawdźmy zatem, kto tu jest tym przemytnikiem.
I say, the heroin is gone.
We can't leave by boat and your bloody compass is useless.
I don't understand it. Compass worked fine before I loaned it to... Oh, hoaxed it, did you?
I am afraid so.
Clever, aren't you?
Oui? May I borrow the compass once more?
I guess you've earned it.
I'll take the sandwich tin if you don't mind.
A few questions only to satisfy my curiosity.
Brał pan dostawy z większego statku na pełnym morzu?
You receive the shipments from a larger vessel at sea?
Yes?
Pan zaś, panie Nord, odbiera je w Zatoce Cuttera.
Monsieur North, you picked them up in Cutter's Cave.
Yes, once I saw the all-clear signal.
Używaliście świateł sygnalizacyjnych?
You used a signal light?
No,
The cells, of course.
of course.
Red to tell Monsieur North the shipment it was not ready. White to inform him that he could pick it up using the tunnel from the smuggler's rest.
That's right. I'd nicked a spare key months ago when the place was still open. Worked quite well for us until a U-boat took some pot shots at me when I was making the rendezvous at sea. Too dangerous now. That was to be our last shipment for a while until we could find another way.
The war, it is an inconvenience.
You can say that again.
Playing the ghost was your idea, Mr. North?
Not likely. Blad thought it would scare off any nosy locals. I thought it was bloody silly.
I think that concludes our business here. Colonel Weston, if you could hand Monsieur North over to your men, I would like Monsieur Blatt to join us this evening in the dining room.
It's your show, my friend.
I'd shoot you, Poirot, if somebody stole my gun.
Eh bien, Hastings. The murder of Millie Parsons, it is now explained. The fifth columnist has fled and will hopefully lead Scotland Yard to other traitors. The practitioner of the voodoo has been revealed. The smugglers have been trapped with the goods, as you say. Only one target remains, the murderer of Arleny Marshall.
Then you knew by now who had murdered Arlena Stewart?
But of course, all of the clues are now in your possession as well. Hastings, the time it has arrived. The crowning glory of any case. That sublime moment when the spotlight shines down. A hush descends upon the audience, and all eyes turn to Poirot. Tonight, however, the stage, it shall be yours. Some will listen in relief, others in anger at what must be revealed. And some will listen in fear as the net of truth slowly, inexorably tightens about them. Now, one thing only before we begin. Do you wish Poirot's help? I can whisper in your ear and guide you. Or, if you feel brave, I will sit back and let you present the case your own little grey cells have constructed for you. What then is it to be?
Czyli muszę dokonać wyboru. Albo Poirot będzie mi podpowiadał, albo sam wytężę swoje szare komórki. Powiem wam szczerze, że ze mnie detektyw jak z kozi dupy trąbka i chętnie skorzystam z pomocy Poirot. Wolałbym, abyś ty wziął to na siebie, Poirot.
I'd like you to take charge, Poirot.
I am happy to oblige you, my friend.
No i bardzo świetnie.
Eh bien, mesdames et messieurs, we are gathered here to learn the facts behind the death of Arleny Marshall. Mrs. Castle, our hostess, will not be joining us. She has fled the island, carefully shadowed by the police.
Good God, ma'am. Do you mean to say she murdered Mrs. Marshall?
No, none at all. But for some time she has been in the employ of this nation's enemies. Rest assured, she will be arrested the moment she leads the police to her co-conspirators. Also, Monsieur Horace Blatt and a day tripper by the name of North have been taken into police custody.
What's he done?
He was arrested with a considerable quantity of heroin in his possession.
Blatt murdered Mrs. Marshall, then? No.
Fifth columnist? The drug smugglers, as I recall, Mr. Blatt. You thought this a rather dull place for a holiday.
And now we must turn our attention to murder. In order to understand the crime, it is necessary to separate the clues to its nature from the many red herrings that obscured our path. Once that is accomplished, we are left with the truth. Let us begin with the comparison of two bottles. The two bottles I compared were, of course,
Butelkę z nadskalnej topieli i butelkę zawierającą trional. Butelki z perfumami. Daj mi jeszcze chwilę, jeśli możesz. Wiecie co? Wydaje mi się, że chodzi tutaj o perfumy. A dokładnie o tą butelkę, która była tam rozbita.
Perfume bottles.
I speak of the two perfume bottles. The first bottle was in Madame Marshall's bath. She had applied the perfume before leaving on her float this morning, as I myself remarked. Why would she need a second bottle? And why was it found in the cave? Next, we come to another comparison. And for this, we owe much to the expertise of Mademoiselle Darnley.
Mademoiselle Darnley to była ta, która tam dziarga na szydełku. 3 fragmenty zielonej tkaniny, trional i heroina. No, oczywiście, że chodzi tutaj o tkaninę.
3 pieces of green fabric.
A torn piece of fabric was found near the cave in Cutter's Cove. Another piece of green fabric was found in the fireplace of Linda Marshall. They appeared to be the same fabric as that of Madame Marshall's hat. In fact, Mademoiselle Darnley was able to tell at a glance that neither was the silk from the hat. I will now turn to another curious incident of this morning. Someone threw a bottle from the hotel balcony. It narrowly missed Mademoiselle Brewster. Why dispose of an unneeded bottle in such a fashion when there are convenient dustbins? The contents of the bottle was also surprising.
Samoopalacz, farba do włosów, daj mi jeszcze chwilę, jeśli możesz. Czy to był samoopalacz, czy farba do włosów? Kurczę, już teraz nie pamiętam. Nie wiem. Strzelajmy.
Artificial suntan.
Testing proved the bottle it had contained artificial suntan. But the weather, it has been most agreeable. The sun, it shines every day. Who would need such a thing? Then there was the contents of Madame Marshall's flask.
Heroinę, trional, daj mi jeszcze chwilę, jeśli możesz. Był to oczywiście trional.
Trianol.
Her coffee was laced with a heavy dose of the sedative Trianol. Instead of reviving her, it would almost certainly have put her into a deep sleep. Taken separately, their clues, they mean little. But together, a bath where there should have been none, duplicate perfume bottles, fabric for the hat that is very much alike, yet not the same, artificial suntan when the sun it shines brightly. These suggested at once to me a single thought alone.
Pewnie ktoś się chciał pod nią podszyć. Ktoś koniecznie chciał podszyć się pod Arlenę Marshall, dokładnie.
Someone wanted to impersonate Arleny Marshall.
Someone wanted to duplicate the hat of Mrs. Marshall, her deep tan, even her scent. And how can we determine when this impersonation has taken place? It is a sound which gives us the clue.
Dźwięk maszyny do pisania, szum płynącej wody. Daj mi jeszcze chwilę, jeśli możesz. Obstawiam, że to.
The sound of running water.
An odd thing, that running water. It was heard both by Poirot and the maid Gladys Narracott. It was very late in the morning for someone to be taking a bath. And as I observed when I had occasion to use my own bath yesterday at an unusual hour, the sound, it is very noticeable in a quiet hotel. Why would someone need to run a bath so late in the morning, if all had already risen and breakfasted?
Skoro ktoś próbował się podszyć pod panią Marshall i nasmarował się wcześniej samoopalaczem, no to żeby zmyć ten samoopalacz, tak przynajmniej obstawiam.
To remove the artificial suntan.
To wash off the artificial suntan, perhaps? The bottle, of course, it is thrown into the sea after the suntan is applied, narrowly missing Mademoiselle Brewster. It becomes clear, does it not, that someone impersonated Madame Marshall this very morning, very near to the time of her murder. But why?
Aby zapewnić mordercę alibi, aby zostać zamordowanym zamiast niej. No nie, no bez przesady. Obstawiam, że alibi.
To provide an alibi for the murderer.
Précisement. I have calculated the time it would take for every person on this island to reach Cutter's Cove, murder Madame Marshall, and come away again between 20 of 11 and 15 minutes to 12. And I tell you that only Mademoiselle Darnley can have done it.
Monsieur Poirot.
Comment-vous, mademoiselle? You were the only one close enough. Yet the nature of the crime, strangulation by powerful hands, eliminates you. Captain Marshall was typing the letters. Linda Marshall and Mrs. Redfern were together at Sanctuary Cove. Monsieur Redfern is in plain sight of several people, both guests and hotel staff. Mrs. Castle tends to her duties. The gardeners were together above the bathing beach, except when Monsieur Gardner goes to fetch the knitting wool. Despite Madame Gardner's apprehensions, he would still not have had enough time to do the deed. Mademoiselle Brewster swims, converses with Poirot and Rose. Monsieur Blatt sails. Major Barry gets lost. Monsieur Lane hikes.
What about the tunnels?
Ah yes, they're tunnels. They would certainly allow someone to reach Cutter's Cove undetected if their secret were known. But they do not make the trip there any shorter. Whether you travel from the Smuggler's Rest to Cutter's Cove, or the monastery ruins to Cutter's Cove via path or tunnel, the time it is almost the same. And without a compass, you may rest assured the trip would be much longer. The method of murder? Strangulation by a powerful pair of hands. Only a man or a strong woman could have done it. It is true there is a woman in this room who could have done it. Mademoiselle Brewster. Forgive me, mademoiselle.
Not at all. A dancer must keep fit.
This fact helps us to eliminate Madame Castle, Madame Gardner, Madame Redfern, Mademoiselle Darnley, and Mademoiselle Linda Marshall as the strangler. Strangulation, yes. A method of murder seen before in Devon. A schoolgirl named Millie Parsons. A housewife named Alice Corrigan. One murdered only a few weeks after the other earlier this year. One of these murders is connected only slightly to the death of Arleny Marshall. But the perpetrator of the other is far more intimately involved.
Morderca Millie Person, morderca Alice Corrigan. Chyba to.
The murderer of Alice Corrigan.
Alice Corrigan and Arleny Marshall were murdered by the same man. How does Poirot know this? The unbreakable alibi. The primary suspect in Alice Corrigan's murder also had the unbreakable alibi just as we face here. An alibi based solely on time. Corrigan, the husband of the murdered woman, was apparently aboard a train when she was killed. Yet in that case, all a certain young lady hiker by the name of Elizabeth Stride must do is give the time when she discovers the body at least 20 minutes before Alice Corrigan actually died. The husband has time to alight at the station, kill his wife, and be gone before the police they arrive. Note how the alibi, it is worked precisely the same. And here the clue that demolishes the false alibi in the murder of Arleny Marshall is her stepdaughter's watch.
No, Poirot, you're wrong.
Zegarek Lindy chodzi idealnie, zegarek Lindy się spóźnia, zegarek Lindy się spieszy. Oczywiście, że choćby idealnie.
Linda's watch keeps perfect time.
If the watch of Linda Marshall did not keep the perfect time, I might have forgiven certain testimony as an honest mistake. But there was no honesty about it. It was a deliberate lie.
Kłamcą jest Christine Redfern, kłamcą jest Linda Marshall. Nie, Linda Marshall na pewno nie znaczy się, może też ma coś tam za uszami.
The liar is Christine Redfern.
You are a liar, Madame Redfern.
No!
You are the impersonator of Arleny Marshall. And the only way you could have done it is if you changed the time on Linda's watch. You had the opportunity at Sanctuary Cove. You had the opportunity to change it back when you sneaked into her room to add to her fire that cheap green hat you wore as part of your disguise.
But how could she change the time on my watch when I was right there at the cove?
Mademoiselle, it was easy enough. Turn the watch back 20 minutes the first time you go into the sea. Then ask what time is it as you prepare to go into the sea once more. The watch, it says 15 minutes of 12. But of course, it is in reality only 25 minutes past 11. She is already dressed in the white bathing suit like Arlena's. The green hat, it is concealed in her sketch bag. And the suntan was applied much earlier, now concealed by the clothes she wears to protect her from the sun. At 11:20, Madame Redfern, she hurries to Cutter's Cove, a journey of no more than 15 minutes. I have timed it myself. She finds Arleny unconscious from the drugged coffee and pulls her into the cave. It could not have been easy. She spilled the coffee. Tore her hat. She has but a few moments to dab herself with Arlena's perfume and compose herself before the rowboat with Patrick Redfern at the oars and Emily Brewster in the bow rounds the headland into Cutter's Cove. The time, it is precisely 11:40.
You have no proof of any of that. Why would she do such a thing?
She loves you, Monsieur Redfern, as you love her. Have I not agreed it is so?
Mr. Poirot, you're saying that the woman I saw lying there was Christine Redfern and not Arleny Marshall?
Oui bien. A little play artfully contrived for your benefit. Each step you were led. Each step you thought you saw what you were supposed to see. Then after you left to go get help, and then the real murder occurs. Now, of course, it is truly 15 minutes of 12. Madame Marshall has the time to wash away the artificial tan, change his clothes, and arrive for her tennis rendezvous.
Monsieur Poirot, I am sure everyone will agree that I might have had a motive to kill Arlena, but not Patrick.
You think I believe in your jealousy, mademoiselle? When your husband, if he is indeed your husband, loves you and you know it to be true? No. The true motive lies in two documents.
Testament Arleny, list od prawników Arleny, list od J.N., list od pani Porter. Daj mi chwilę jeszcze, muszę się zastanowić. List od prawników Arleny.
Letter from Arlena's solicitors.
A telegram reveals that a sizable portion of her fortune was paid out last week to her. 10,000 pounds to be exact. Do you know anything of this, Captain Marshall?
First I've heard of it.
List od...
Letter from J.N.
A letter from a former admirer named Jimmy Nash gives us an insight into Mrs. Marshall and her relationships with a certain kind of man. It is clear that he has requested and received money from her sometime in the past. I said to Captain Marshall earlier today that until we can comprehend fully and completely exactly what kind of a person Arleny Marshall was, we shall not be able to see clearly exactly the kind of person who murdered her. And what do we see from these two letters?
Arlena wykorzystywała mężczyzn, po czym ich odtrącała. Arlena zyskiwała przewagę nad mężczyznami, którym się podobała.
Arlena was taken advantage of by men she was attracted to.
Arleny Marshall was a woman who needed to be admired, adored. It is true. But what was the result? She was fair game for a certain type of man who takes advantage of such women. Just as Jimmy Nash convinced her to give him money, Patrick Redfern did the same. And I know as surely as I know anything that before Jimmy Nash there was another such man, and before him another. Arlena was not the predator. She was the victim. That was her character. And that is the character of Edward Corrigan, the man who killed her. just as he killed his wife Alice for her inheritance only a few months ago.
No proof whatsoever. Not a shred that will hold up in court.
Oh, I don't know about that. Here's something even Poirot hasn't heard yet. Although knowing him, he expects it. I sent a photograph of the two of you he borrowed from your suitcase to the Brixham police.
Allow me to make this small deduction, Colonel. They have identified you as Edward Corrigan and Elizabeth Stride, the young woman who found the body.
Oh, well, that's torn it. Edward, don't be a fool.
Say, that looks like my revolver.
You can go quietly to the noose if you like, my dear. I have other plans.
Poirot? Shouldn't we chase after him?
Poirot does not chase?
Jestem ciekaw, co ten gościu odwali. Brak instrukcji. Mamy nowe alibi. A, poczekajcie. Sygnał. Wydaje mi się, że ja muszę udać się na górę.
You damned, interfering, lousy little worm. One step and I'll kill you. I may do it anyway.
Here is your chance, Hastings. Warn him if you wish to. Try not to get Poirot killed, please. Do not signal with a lantern.
And why not?
Okłamałem młodego Monsieur Jenksa. To zbyt niebezpieczne. Rób co masz do zrobienia.
I told young Monsieur Jenks to lie.
What has Jenks got to do with it?
That is Madame Castle's signal lantern you stole from her safe that she used to signal the U-boats. I too found the lantern and also the codebook. I told Monsieur Jenks that 3 long flashes of the light is safe, but it is the code to fire at the signal.
I expected you to try and block my escape, but I'm no fool. You're bluffing.
It is no bluff.
Sorry, you greasy little foreigner, but I just don't believe you.
Very well, Hastings. We can go now.
Right. That's the signal.
Achtung! Stellen Sie Koordinaten ein! Bereit! Ziel! Feuer!
Hell.
Gut, Ziel zerstörtes. Tauchen!
One mystery only remains, Hastings. You have the clue. Code. What is then the code that allows someone to control the finger of suspicion? When you think you have the answer, tell me and we shall see what we shall see.
Jeszcze pozostaje ten nieszczęsny kod. Nie mam zielonego pojęcia, o co tutaj chodzi. W sensie, jaki może być kod? Okej, może Poirot? Albo... Czy ja mogę teraz skorzystać z jakiejś podpowiedzi?
Abby, my friend, if you think...
Albo coś w notatkach może mam? Ciekawe, ile w ogóle muszę cyferek tutaj...
I am sorry, Hastings, but you have dialed... I am sorry. I am sorry.
Aha, czyli G, GHI, DEF. Wcześniej próbowałem tutaj, to może spróbujemy szóstkę. 4, 3, 6. I teraz co? Mam to robić metodą próby i błędów?
I am sorry.
4, 3, 6. Może piątka?
I am sorry.
Też nie. Dobra, moi drodzy, zrobimy tak. Kiedy uda mi się odkryć, to po prostu zobaczycie animację.
Bravo, Hastings. That is indeed the code that unlocks the finger of suspicion. You have uncovered the secret of its magic. The case it is now complete, my friend. You have walked in Poirot's shoes.
Poirot, I'll be honest with you. Now that I've given it a try, your job is not as easy as I thought. But thank you for the experience. I am proud to be your friend.
And I am honored to have you as mine, Hastings. We have passed the hours most agreeably.
Yes, I thank you for that too. I'm sorry, old chap. I should trot on over to the War Office, I'm afraid.
And so, one mystery solved, and another, even greater, begins.
Don't you worry. No more holidays at the beach for a time, maybe. But we'll pull through. You'll see.
Oh, I feel like the dinosaur, Hastings. Gone is my world, where good always triumphs over evil. Where the clues, they all add up to the satisfactory solution. Where the murderer never escapes. This will be a war as we have never seen it. Whatever the outcome, mon ami, the cost, it will be high. And I fear our world, it will never be the same.
Moi drodzy, i tym oto sposobem, tym akcentem zakończyliśmy Agatha Christie, Zło, które żyje pod słońcem. Powiem wam tak, Bardzo ciekawe śledztwo, naprawdę do samego końca nie sądziłem, kto jest mordercą, ale tak jest w przypadku tych gierek. Mimo tego, że mamy podejrzanych, to tak naprawdę nie wiemy, kto za tym wszystkim stoi. Moi drodzy, tak jak powiedziałem, pozostał nam jeszcze jeden tytuł do ogrania i nie było już nikogo, który rozpoczniemy w dniu jutrzejszym. A tymczasem tyle z mojej strony. Mam nadzieję, że let's play wam się podobał, mam nadzieję, że gierka was wciągnęła i mam nadzieję, że kolejna też was wciągnie. A tymczasem dzięki wielkie i do usłyszenia. Hej!